Ladies and gentlemen, this is my review of Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, I know it's been several weeks since this game has come out, and I'm sure many reviewers have already torn this thing apart, but I would like to talk a little more about it. As you can see, this outfit is a white outfit, which I definitely want to go for. That's more of an Assassin's kind of feel. And also, as you will also notice, everyone is speaking French instead of any kind of English, British English. So with that being said, let me just proceed with this review. So, obviously, the first thing that is positive, or one of the pros of Assassin's Creed Unity, is the graphics. This is an absolutely beautiful, graphically impressive piece. The folks at Ubisoft really did just a fantastic job with really bringing this the city to life. It's just gorgeous. It's lush. It's teeming with life. There are just things to do all over the place. In fact, let me just show you the map right here, which is absolutely just crazy. I mean, this is the completionist's nightmare. There is just so much to do in this city. And with that, I mean, since it is more accurate as far as the scale is concerned, when you're climbing up, like, for example, Notre Dame, it's really just absolutely huge. Like, in fact, my dad was actually in Paris for a little bit of time, and I actually showed him this, and he was actually fairly impressed with how it looks. So one of the things that I definitely like about this is the fighting mechanics of this. The way that Arno moves and fights with the different various weapons, the heavy weapon, the rapier, I mean, it's definitely fun to play. I do admit that with the combat, though, that you actually are not able to use the Assassin's Blade when you're in combat, which is something that you're able to do ever since Assassin's Creed 2 all the way up to the previous game, Black Flag, which I think was kind of, it's kind of a disappointment, because it's like, and sometimes I just like that up close and personal kind of combat, and the fact that I wasn't able to use that, it was kind of a disappointment. But I mean, nonetheless, the combat was still very fun to play, and it still is fun to just go around and, for example, if you see somebody, like some criminals or something like that, it's just to walk up and just slash their throats. Next point I want to bring up is the multiplayer. Now, I don't know what other people's perspectives was with the previous multiplayer, but with the previous multiplayer games, I really actually liked those games, and I'm actually kind of disappointed that that did not carry over into this. Now, I understand with this, they're trying to do what they kind of did with Watch Dogs, which is try to create some sort of integration with the missions as among people playing the game. Now I've tried it several times, and granted, I mean, it is a fun concept. But so it's a fun concept. It is cool to be able to do these different missions with other people. It is kind of annoying, though, when you don't have people communicating, and it's kind of basically a free for all. And then it does kind of get a little annoying in that regard. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, it is actually a fun system to work with if it works. If it's not working, then you're kind of screwed. But fortunately, they do have a single player option with this, which can be. So you can play it by yourself. It's just extremely hard, and you have to really take your time in order to do it correctly. Now, some of the cons that I have with this. Now, obviously, when the game first came out, there were just so many different glitches and issues with it. Now, fortunately, Ubisoft has released some patches, so I mean, it is running smoother. I would be lying to say that there aren't still glitches. I mean, I still do occasionally run into, like, for example, some random person walking someplace or what have you. But I mean, it is getting better, at least. Unfortunately, part of the criticism is like part of the criticism is that it's like the first wave of people that got the game, including myself, were essentially the beta testers that Ubisoft was basically using to see, okay, what's wrong with the game, okay, let's go and fix this. Some additional issues that I have with this game is the one biggest pet peeve that I have with this game is the companion app, because with the previous game with Black Flag, the companion app was a tool that you use in order to enhance the game. So say for example, like there you collected treasure maps, and you basically were using it in order to get different treasures, and so if you didn't have the companion app, it would be very annoying to have to switch over to, like, for example, the map, or just hit a button. Whereas, like, if you had the companion app, and you can seriously just like look down and basically find where your treasure was located. And then furthermore, there's a game that is associated with that companion app that you were able to access on both the game and also take with you wherever you wanted to, as long as you had internet access. Well, this isn't the same thing as how it is with this companion app, because with the Assassin's Creed Unity companion app, it is a completely separate game that you cannot access on the on the console. And when you're going through the game, you're basically, like, on the console, you're basically running into all these different blue treasure chests, as you can see right here. You run up to them, you interact with them, and then all of a sudden it says you have to access this through the companion app. Well, what's the point of even bringing that up? It's an absolute nuisance to have this here. It's like you have this goal, but you can't attain it unless you have, i.e., a smartphone or a tablet. And I own both. I own an iPad, I own an iPhone. And this is extremely annoying to me. Like, I don't really care about this. Now, fortunately, in order to get 100% completion, it seems like all you need to do is just collect the white treasure chest and the red locked treasure chest, which you can access on the game. But the fact that these blue ones and also the yellow ones, which has to do with initiatives, which is still not exactly the most intuitive system ever, is just absolutely annoying. Now, finally, now this is the point that I want to say, a spoiler alert for those who are not interested in the story or aspect, or don't want to know anything about the story. Then feel free to turn off right now. Otherwise, let's proceed on. The story, I feel, is as lackluster. It's not exactly the best story. It's very predictable, and at some points there's not much of a payoff. If I were to assess this in a 3-act structure, I would say the first act starts off strong, but then some of the foundational details aren't exactly there. The second act really doesn't pick up until Elise comes back into the picture, and then the third act, it's kind of a disappointment. The first act. So first off, you start off. First, the entire premise is that as far as the modern day era is concerned, you're playing actually yourself. I mean, it's not like you're an employee over at Abstergo. You're the first player protagonist that's in the modern era is you, the consumer of this product known as Helix. Now, with the first mission that you play, it takes you into the medieval era, and then you have this kind of big, huge battle that is basically portraying the Templars as these good guys. And there's this critical moment where basically you have this Templar who's basically cursing this king, saying that within generations you will suffer for what you've done, which is loosely referring to this conflict, the French Revolutionary War. And so it starts off strongly. Then you have a couple people come in with the assassins with different code names, Bishop and I forget what the other code name is. But really, anyone who's familiar with the franchise knows it's Rebecca and Sean. So you basically have basically they're saying, okay, now we want to recruit you, blah blah blah. I felt this was really corny, but I mean whatever. They're trying to go for a new kind of way of doing this. But then so they proceed. You go into the story of Arnaud. Arnaud's father gets killed, and Monsieur de la Serre comes in and takes him on as like a adopted son, basically. And then later on when he grows up, I mean, there is this connection between Arno and his father, but I didn't really catch much of a connection between Monsieur de la Serre and Arno, because like when you first see this interaction between the two of them, it's basically Monsieur de la Serre is basically just busting out of trouble, and he's basically with how he kind of portrays it, it's like, oh man, this kid is a thorn in my side. Whereas like, and I hate to be compared to other games, but with Assassin's Creed 2, one of probably the best in the series, with there was a scene between Ezio and Giovanni, where Giovanni is basically like, come here, like, what are you doing? You're picking all these fights, you're sleeping with all these girls. I mean, it reminds me of how I was when I was your age. So, I mean, just run along, you little sucker. But anyways, but I mean, there's still this compassionate bond between these two, and I just didn't feel that. And that was absolutely something that was crucial, because later on, you have Arno, who's trying to avenge or try to find out what will happen with Monsieur de la Serre, and it's like, where is the motivation in that? It's like, okay, and especially since he finds out that he was a Templar, and I mean, for me, the story really didn't pick up until Elise came back into the picture. In fact, that's why I'm playing this mission right here with Elise, because it's really, she's the only one that really gets the story going, because it's really Elise is his only motivation in the entire thing. It just felt like the wheels were spinning the entire time until Elise came back into the picture. There were just so many strings that were left hanging. Like, for example, this sword. I mean, okay, first off, anyone who has started off with Assassin's Creed with this particular game is going to be so lost. They're not going to know, okay, they see the sword. What is this all about? I don't know. They see the sage. I don't know what that's all about. I mean, and then at the very end, like, the whole point of the game is to try to find where the body is of the sage. And you get to the very end, and looks like Arno did our job 200 years before it was even a problem. Okay, well then, I guess we don't have to worry about that anymore. That is such a slap in the face. Like, really? I mean, we just went through all these missions, and just to find out that it was all for nothing. Like, that is absolutely just, like, what? And plus, furthermore, there's no kind of background as far as, with Juno or with any of these other kinds of things. There's so many, I mean, it's just so lackluster. Like, there's just so much ambiguity, and so, I mean, it's just, there's just not a whole lot of, I mean, there's just so, I mean, it's just so, I don't know what to say. I mean, because the story was just so, I mean, just uncompelling, and I mean, and like I said, it started off strongly. Arno had that kind of Flynn Rider type of a feel from like at the very beginning, but then like eventually, like it just doesn't. It just, again, these wheels turn, and they're not gaining any kind of traction. The only story that actually had any kind of real emotional connection was the story with Elise. Everything else just fell flat on its face. And I really would hope that for future games that Ubisoft would really just concentrate on making sure that the story was solid. I just didn't feel this story was solid. I didn't feel any kind of connection with oh my gosh, I can't even remember his name. His mentor from the jail. I mean, he's. I mean, I didn't feel any kind of connection with him. I mean, he kept on calling you piss pot like the entire time. Like, I mean, what kind of what's the issue with that? I mean, you end up killing that guy, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, I don't care that I just killed him. Like, I mean, there was the emotional foundation for the story just was not set, and it's just left me very unimpressed with how everything turned out. So there you go. That's my review of Assassin's Creed Unity. If you have any additional comments or anything, feel free to comment down below. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Feel free to click and subscribe for more vlogs every day. Thanks for watching.